Hello everybody, Dan here. Welcome back. Thank you for watching this video. And today's video, I'm going to explain to you how to properly use AI as a developer. So basically, I will show you this on this board in spalibro.com, which is a tool I really recommend to everybody, independently of your role. You could be a PM or you could be a developer, but this tool is really great for scheming and overall making diagrams. So I will be using this to explain a little stuff I've learned. So we're going to explain some steps, right? Some steps that I think everybody has gone through from the basic one, right? I'm going to explain that from the basic one, right, to the medium, or let's say the not that basic, and then pro, and then ultra. So basically here, the basic is what everybody used to, or actually, some, I've seen, let's say, people still using this method. And the method is that you have a IDE, I don't know, let's say you have Visual Studio Code, all right? And then you would program here, right? You will go here and then you will start programming, all right? But that is not enough because nowadays we are not anymore programming almost anything. There are some cases that we need to refactor or that we must fix some things that we, as babysitters of AI, basically do, right? So we have to sometimes go in there, or maybe we want to implement our own idea, or we don't want to depend too much on AI. But the thing is that you will use IDEs to code, right? And then you would implement this or add it up what is called a AI interface. All right. What I mean by the AI interface, well, this could mean uh, using code or using codecs on the web, right? Like when you go to the web page and then you search for codecs, right? Or you search for cloud. You have many AI platforms, or maybe you could use Gemini. I don't know. It is various type of models out there, but this is the basic iteration of both works. And this is a problem, right? This is a big problem because you are getting behind, all right? If you're still using this method, you're getting so behind. So I want you, all right, I want you to not fall back on this and pay attention because it's very important for developers and mostly for senior developers because I've seen some senior developers not using this method. So maybe another basic method is, well, I'm not using I'm not using AI plus interface and IDE. I'm using integrated, all right, AI chat chats, or let's say agents in IDEs. Right. So this is good. Like in Visual Studio Code, right? You will have these agent, right? Imagine you go Visual Studio Code and then you have this agent, right? Where you can install that by a plugin, you know, and you will have these on the sidebar, all right? And you could ask question, right? You can go and ask question about your code, or maybe you want to change your code inside, or you want to implement, or just simply read. So you would use an agent, and you can use it in a chat that is fully integrated nowadays in Visual Studio Code. So that's not that basic use. I think it's very good use. But the pro use on this is not only using that, but using tools, right? Like skills, using tools like MCPs, using tools as skills plus CLIs, all right? So that's the next, I would say the pro level. If you're not using the skill, you're falling behind, my friend. Because it's really important to understand that AI sometimes gives boilerplate code and it's not perfect at all. So you need to stop using AI just asking like it's a person. You have to make your prompts better. So that is another um this point is in the here. You have to use a better prompt. All right. So go ahead and don't be shy and better prompt. All right, your prompts. You have to you have to take advantage of making good prompts because the better the prompts you make, the better the results AI gives to you. All right. So skills, I will make a video about this and NCPs. Skills are basically what is called ND files. All right. So with ND files, what you can make is basically void, void repeating, basically. You avoid repeating stuff to the AI. So maybe you are building a front end, right? And you're building the same button, and then you build a selector. The problem is that you want to make those two components with the same style. So in order to do that, you implement a skill telling that every time you interact with front end, you want to implement a specific skill or this specific style. It could be a proper color. It could be a singular way of implementing this, I don't know, in React or Angular. So the thing is to avoid repeating stuff into prompts and only use only prompt in Cloud Code or maybe Gemini for stuff that are specifically not repeating, right? And then we go to the Ultra. And this is why I want to focus today. So what is the best way to implement or to use both words, coding and AI? So I think I've done it, guys. I think I found best way. You know, there are some tutorials out there. Me as a developer, it's helped me a lot, right? And this method is not only for developers. It actually helps CEOs. It helps PMs. It helps architects, software. It helps Scrum Master to have the war advantage if you're using this, right? So basically, what we will be making is a Obsidian second memory. So as you can see, this is not magic. This is not any kind of complicating stuff. So basically, each node you see here, right? Each node is just an empty file, right? It's just an empty file. It's just a file. Well, you go ahead and then you describe what you want to do. Like this is an empty file, no mystery behind it, right? But the cool stuff about this is that you can interconnect or interlink these empty files each other. So how can you do that, right? How can you do that? So imagine that you're going to the empty file, let's say the template session. I'll explain later what it is, but you can interconnect this, right? By simply using, let me go to another empty file, maybe this one, maybe this one, all right? So this is interconnected because I say so. I put this related and then that related to other empty files. So the better interconnect at your empty files, it's like making a memory. It's like making a a neuron, all right? That neural interconnection system for cloud or for Gemini or for any model you're using. It could be open source. It can be maybe Chinese open source models. It can be Codex, all right? You can use this with anything. But what is the advantage of this? What is the use case for this? So I imagine, guys, that you when you open a closed session, I'm be using Claw because it's the main tool I use. So I imagine that when you open Claw, all right, and let's say that you let's open Claw, all right. You open Claw and then Claw opens, right, magically, and the context is gone. There is no context at all. You don't have any context. Like this, or like this is like a person that has never touched. Like it has fundamental concepts of software, but it doesn't have any context of your logic or your business logic. It doesn't have any context of what you're working for or what you're learning. So the idea is to give Claude this context initially, all right? So instead of prompting something like, let's say, I'm working in a, I don't know, React project that has been up for 6 years, all right? And I want I want to implement the feature, right? So that's don't do that, right? Let's stop doing that. What you can do instead is that every time you work on a project, you save your session logs or you save your daily chat with Claude in an empty file, right? It's that simple. It's that simple. And then you can implement two skills, right, for that. The first skill I want to show you now, um, let me see. The first skills is the compress skill. So basically what it does, it saves current session as a structured log in the vault before ending. It triggers when I say compress slash compress, save session, end session, save what we did, log the session, save our work, etc., etc. So the idea, all right, the idea behind this is to save the current conversation as a reachable and structured session log in the vault. All right. So why do you want to do that? Because later, this is what you do at the end of the day. But later, the next day, maybe, or maybe you don't touch you stop working on the project and then you return working on it 6 months later. So what you can do about it? Then we have this skill which name is resume. All right. So this skill, what we do is the contrary to the compress one. So basically, we will load the project context and session logs from the Obsidian Vault to resume work. It triggers on resume, it triggers on catch me up, what was I working on, pick up where we left off, and etc. Right? So basically, it loads a project context from the Obsidian. This is the Obsidian, all right? This tool is called Obsidian, and the Vault is basically all of these group of files and folders. And then software continues immediately without re-explaining. So you don't have to re-explain again. So imagine you're working on a feature, right? And then this feature, you have to touch this feature maybe 2 months later, and you don't remember what it was about, or don't remember what you did exactly. If you don't remember, the AI does not either. All right. So the idea here is that for both interconnect and for both to work better, to have this context on what we work, what was done, what we think we will done. Um, Maybe we can also save architecture. We can save context in general of the project, right? So besides that, all right, besides because as you can see, I have the skills here organized. I have a folder named architecture. So this is basically things that I learn, right? Every time we are working on a project, we learn something, right? And then we realize, all right, I would like to have a way to save this knowledge for AI in a way that I want to. So for that, I make another skill named learning, all right, with more references. So learning basically is a safe, what it does is save a permanent project agnostic architecture learning to this path. So maybe you learn, I don't know, you learn about how JWT token work. Maybe you learn about a new AI method, right? Maybe you learn about Vue today. You didn't work on Vue before, and you learn Vue today. You want to understand Vue in a deep core, so you will use this skill, and it will automatically save here in the architecture. Now, guys, I'm giving you the idea, the core idea. I'm not giving you the skill itself because I want you to implement the skill. I'm giving you the idea. So the idea is what it looks like is I go to the project, I resume what we did before on this project context. So it will give me anything on the project about, right? And then at the end of the day, I will use compress to save what we did, basically. And if we in the middle of the session we are learning something, I want to make sure that learning is saved. So later on I can understand better what we saved that or I can study that. So maybe basically let's see, have this learning here, all right? These WSGI and ASGI, which is a kind of interface used for web servers between, it's like a contract between web servers and frameworks. So I was learning about this and I didn't know about it. And I'm learning. So I save all the chat, all the context. I further explain what we wanted to save to be safe here. But that's the idea. And then I um interconnect this empty file to other empty files. So next time I say I don't know, I say Calco to teach me about everything about Python, we will know that this is about Python. And as this is about Python, it references another file which probably is about Python as well. And I have also tags here, as you can see. Every empty file in my vault has a tag inserted for better research, for better search for the AI and for me. All right. I also have the date and more metadata in there. So that's the idea, right? That's the idea about how to work with AI better, to keep context, all right, and to better flow um this work, our work as a developer. Now, this is not only for dev. You can also use this if you're architecture of software. You can use this if you're a PM. Maybe you could save session of what was done I don't know. Maybe there's a new Jira ticket. You want to understand what is the Jira ticket about? What was done? Who did that? Who didn't? What were the blockers and so on, right? And well, right now I want you to explain to you let's say the project structure, all right, the project structure of the project folder. So I have a folder name, projects, all right, and then I have client name. I don't know, maybe this belongs to Facebook, so the client is Facebook. And then inside a folder, I have all the projects about that client. So maybe we are working on the new, I don't know, metaverse those 2.0, right? So that's the other folder. And then inside that project folder, inside every project folder, I have the structure. I have the bugs, I have the decision folder, all right? I have the docs folder, I have the progress folder, and then I have the sessions folder. So what we will save in the session, I also have a context and the file. So this is basically the like the initializer of what Chloe will read about. Maybe I don't know. I didn't work on this project in 2 years, but I started working on it again. So I want Claude to read this context and the file so he doesn't forget, right? And then I can see maybe what was made wrong because we would save that in the box folder. We could save why we choose, I don't know, why we choose Nginx instead of Apache for this project. So that would be in the decision folder. In the docs, well, in the docs, I could save architectural, right? I could save architectural. I could save architectural documentation, right? I could save onboarding documentation and so on. Now the progress, all right, the progress is just a special folder. Maybe you don't need it, but I save here Jira or Asana or let's say Meetup, sprints, backlogs, all right. So I also make sure I check that on this structure besides those websites or tools. And then in the sessions folder, which is one of the most important, which I explained before, is to save the session for today. So today is 29 of March, I think. So I would say a session. Maybe in that session we discuss about I don't know, we discuss we fix a bug, right? We fix a bug. So I want to make sure that conversation, that session is safe. So next day, right, next day on 30th of March, I go and I read the past. So so the model has context of what is project about because it's going to read the context and it's going to read the session, all right? So it has context of what we did earlier. It has context of what are we on and what is left to do. It has also context, if I say so, of the architectural decisions architectural documentations, and I also give the contents for the model to not um, to realize of the books we commit or we had, so it doesn't make the same mistake again. So that's the core idea, right? That's the core idea of this. I know this was a brief introduction, but hopefully you guys understood. And well, um, if you have any question, just tell me about it, and I will be so glad to answer. Thank you very much.